Welcome back to Moms Behind the Brand. I'm your host, Jasmine Swinton, and today we have an incredibly inspiring guest with us. Joining us is Shana Gourdine. Am I saying that right?
Goodine, yes.
Goodine. Sheena Goodine, an empowerment advocate, inspirational author, and a true force of nature. Shana's journey of overcoming domestic violence and health challenges has led her to become a beacon of hope and inspiration for many. She is dedicated to helping individuals rediscover self love and has made significant strides as an advocate for domestic violence awareness and chronic illness. Sheena, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we can hop right into it. Let us know about your brand, who you are, what you're doing, and let's go.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Shana Gourdine, better known as the lady behind the mask. I am a woman of many hats. I'm here to inspire and motivate. I am the owner of my own magazine, which is called A Mastering Motivation, but my victory didn't start there. It started with me becoming an author about 5 years ago and being able to help people learn how to unmask themselves after trauma and be the best version of themselves. A lot of times we walk around with a mask and don't know how to be comfortable in our own skin. So my victory was being able to help others walk around and take their mask off, feel comfortable in their own skin, regardless of where they've been, what they've been through, and what they may step into, because life be life.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the key initiatives that you've had since you started your brand? Like, what have you supported? Who are you supporting specifically? Is it teenagers, moms?
It's interesting. I do a little bit of everybody. So with my books, I have the poetry set of the masking version where I go to the shelters and I work with the domestic violence shelter and I work with the homeless shelter and the women and I do workshops and give them confidence building and help them, step into the other side of that trauma, that healing. You know, I call myself dope, dedicated to other people empowerment. And I've worked with the shelter that I've actually went through, which was Unity House. I work with the YWCA Northeastern in Schenectady. I've worked with the shelter called Abby's House in Massachusetts, and I worked with about two other shelters called Wellspring and St. Paul Center. Also, my advocate for children. I have a children's book. I have two actually, and I actually have my daughters as my co-authors in the book. So my first book is called The Power in Me, which I go to the schools and I go empower the kids to just be great. Like you can dream to be the president and you can do it, but you got to put the work in and you got to know that the power's within them. So I go, I speak to the kids and I let them know like, hey, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a business owner, you can be an author, but you have to put the work in. And it starts with you, and it starts now with your education. The consistency, the showing up and doing the homework on time all plays a part in real life. And then my other children's book, which is called Come and Learn Your A's and Z's with Me, is for the younger kids. It's basically, it's not like just A for apple, how we used to, learn our alphabets, but I give them the aspiration. It's like A for apple, but A for amazing. B for bat, but B for bravo. C for cat, but C for courage.
That
So
is
my
great.
journey is to inspire all ages, all sex, as far as men, women, boys, kids, you know, girls, and just be able to empower everybody to just be the full potential of who they are and what they would like to become.
Now, how are your children doing with the process of you being an entrepreneur and even being involved in your business?
They love it. They go with me every step of the way. Like when this journey started 5 years ago, they were right there with me when I started my speaking engagements talking about my story. And the crazy thing about it, the very first time I told my domestic violence story, they were sitting in the audience and it was an audience of 80 people on a stage of strangers that I told my story to.
Now, was that their very first time hearing everything that had happened?
Yes, for the most part. They knew that I went through it and they seen snippets of it because, unfortunately they were in the house one day when one incident happened. But as far as like the full story from their father or the other incidents, that was the first time them hearing it all. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. So, what's the impact that you feel that you really want to make and leave, not just for your children, but for your community?
My impact is for the, that everybody has, a purpose and you can take your vision and you can make it to be great, and you have to be able to live your dream, but don't be scared doing it. Do it in fear, but do it anyway.
know, that's one of the main things that I've been working through, because it's pushing me completely out of my comfort zone and everything that I'm doing right now. Honestly, I know I've had the heart to do it. Like it feels like my mission and my purpose to do it, but to actually put those steps in and step out of my comfort zone and what I've been like used to doing in life, it is very exciting. And I'm so glad that my daughter gets to see the process. So it's amazing that your children get to be involved and see everything that's going on. So, what do you feel like some of the struggles have been since you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, when it first started, it's all about support. And that can be devastating to people because I tell people being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. And
Mhm.
learning how to market, you have to learn your audience. So it's all a learning process, especially if you're doing it by yourself and you don't have a team. It becomes a lot, but you got to learn how to balance family life, work life, and just your own personal self, because if you're pouring from your cup and not filling it back up, it can become a lot. And when I first started this journey, I was on go, because you was like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta get this, I gotta do that. But you gotta also, like you said, like I said, find balance. Because if you're giving everything and don't have anything to, give yourself, then how are you giving 100% to the people that you're trying to help? So it's all about balance, scheduling, and learning your audience. I think my hardest journey was, at first, it could be disappointing when you think the people that are supposed to support you don't support you. And I
Right.
learned that everybody ain't for me. And I learned how to create my own table. So after the struggles of knowing that, hey, my supporters are not for everybody. And it's okay that that person don't support you, because the right tribe and the right people that's supposed to be with you will be. So just the growth through the process of 5 years, I learned that your tribe will come. You just have to continue to consistently show up. If it's one person or if it's 1,000 people, just show up anyway and be authentic and be unapologetically about your mission and stand for who you are and what you do.
That's amazing. Now, I got to go back. What does balance look like for you? Like, how are you balancing it all?
Well, between mommy life, I do my normal. I get up, I get them ready for school, and then my day starts. So then, it's between checking emails and doing everything I need to do, scheduling conversations and meetings and stuff like that, because I might have somebody have a podcast, or I might have somebody meeting about the magazine, or I might have a workshop that I have to have a conversation about that I need to go outside and do. So just scheduling the time, but I've learned that I take days off. And that's the good thing about being your own business owner. You can schedule days off and hours off. So a lot of times when my schedule, I give that grace time from when my kids first get home. Between that time of them getting home at like 3:30 to the hours of 6 o'clock, I really don't schedule anything. That gives me 3 hours span to either, talk to them, chill with them, cook dinner, and all those things. After that, after 9 o'clock, I'm not doing anything. It's
Mhm.
my schedule is pretty much I'll start at 6:30 in the morning to 9. And anything after that is the next day. Weekends, I try not to schedule myself every weekend. I do the every other weekend if I have to, or no weekends at all. But I try to even out the time to where I'm spending time with the kids, the family. I'm doing work that I need to do, but then I also schedule myself time.
Right.
Because we all got to get that me time, that time to take 5 minutes for yourself. If it's meditation, if it's sitting there, if it's just taking a whole day to sit and Netflix and chill.
Hello?
You got to find time for yourself. If it's meaning going outside for a walk, listening to music. But the variation is about how you want to put your schedule. And with my schedule, I always make sure I put time for family and myself,
Okay.
and then I
Yep.
put work. So everything balances out. I just schedule everything, and I make sure, because with my health conditions, I have to listen to my body. So on top of it, I have to make sure that I'm not overdoing it too much, because then I really can't help nobody if I'm sick in bed.
Right. That's
So
right.
it's all about me listening to the body, eating healthy, and using the calendar. And I use the calendar to schedule a lot of things, because when your schedule when you become a very serial entrepreneur, it can get really, really busy. So between my life, kids, the schedule, and a planner works.
So now, question with your planner, do you do time blocking? Because that's what I'm like teaching myself
Yes.
how to time block and be very strategic. Because for my personal life, my son, he has autism, so he goes to his program from 9 to 3. So I know in that time frame, typically like this time, 10:30 or 10 a.m. to 2, I get to do my client calls. I get to do any recordings. I get to do anything that I need to do business wise. And then after that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock time frame, I pretty much shut it down. And then now I have been working till about 2 in the morning, but I'm training myself again. It's about unlearning to relearn. Now I'm taking it down at 9, 10 o'clock, put my son to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm laying down. Now I can get up at 5 or 6 in the morning and actually start a productive day without the rushing. I can meditate. So I'm literally, and the coach has a coach, having my
Mm-hmm.
business coach really helps me with organizing those things. She actually literally had to remind me, I see your schedule, everything you have time blocked here, but you didn't schedule any time for yourself. So it's
Right.
great that you have that time blocking. Now, question for you, did you ever like delegate tasks other than to your children, or are you still superwomaning through the whole
Nope, nope, nope.
process?
I do nope. Actually, what's crazy is me just starting my magazine. I actually am starting to delegate as far as the magazine. I actually just got me a team of about 20
Yes.
writers. I got an
Come
editor and a
on.
designer for my magazine because I at the first five months I was doing it all. The
Mhm.
editing, the marketing, the gathering. So, it's like, all right, it's time for me to delegate because I have a lot of hats. You know, with the podcast, instead of me talking to everybody, I got a link. You schedule
Yep.
between this time and that time. I'll email you once you think to for you to send me the information I need to make the flyers. So it's less work. I'm not having going back and forth with the conversation too much. I put the link up, you book, I send you the email, here it goes. You know. So I try to make things functionable without me having to do so much.
As much as we could automate, it just makes our life easier,
A
a
lot
lot more
easier.
seamless. And then our team knows what they're doing and can actually pick it up without us having to meet every single morning to say, hey, do
Right.
this, do that. So that's great. What do you think is up next? What are you excited about? What's your next plans that you're willing to share?
Well, the plans are always great. Like I said, the magazine is, that was actually the next step I actually just took with them. And my
Oh,
magazine's cover is actually booked out for 2024. I got booked out May 1st and I just dropped the magazine February 1st. And
congratulations.
so the next adventure, I'm an author of 6 books, but this would be my second visionary project of an anthology where I have a collective of authors putting their stories in my book. And I actually have a collective of 35 authors in this book, which is going to be called Turning My Pain into a Purpose.
Hmm.
So that will be released in October. No dates yet because it's to be announced. Not sure exactly the date, but the goal is October. Because the thing about it is, why not put a collection of stories in it to inspire people to just be the best version of themselves and walk into their purpose? If and with that title, it can be so many things that people can take their pain and make it a purpose. And
Now, is it like a journal?
nope, it's gonna be a
Okay.
book of it's gonna be chapters. All 35 people have their own chapters of their topic of what they turned their pain into a purpose. And the goal with this project is not just to make it a book, it's gonna be a movement. I want to make it a movement of passion, healing of souls, and being able to take people to their next journey of life as they read and understand that, hey, you're not alone. It's people out here that's dealing with stuff, but they're taking it and they're making strides. They're not, self-sabotaging themselves. They're stepping into their fear and still walking in their purpose to be great. Along with that, my process is to do a conference next year, out here in Troy, New York, and also take all those same people and give them the platform to speak about, their chapters. And, with this conference, the goal is to help people go on a healing journey. Because like I told you, my title was dope, dedicated to other people empowerment, and I'm here to empower, inspire, and motivate.
So where in your process did you come up with the dope acronym? How did you overcome, especially with your children watching? Like, how did you overcome those challenges?
So dope came from I made okay, so I also do spoken word and I have an
Uh-huh.
album. So I have 2 albums. My first one that came out in 2022, I think it was, and it was called I Was Always a Rose in the Darkness of Love. And I did this spoken word project that was called Not Anymore. And in that project I said the word dope and I said not anymore. I'm dope, dedicated to other people empowerment. And so it stick because not anymore was I going to be the victim. Not anymore was I going to be the one that had to sit stagnant. Not anymore did I have to leave in fear. So being dope and being able to be inspired and be that passion for people, be that vision and let people see that yeah, I have 6 health conditions, but I'm not letting it stop me. Yes, I did go domestic violence, but it didn't stop me. Yes, I deal with life, but I let life be life in, but I don't let life stop me from continuing my dream. So going through this journey and being able to inspire my kids was the dopeness of it, to letting them know that not anymore they have to be the generation that went through what I went through. Not anymore. They can be great. And starting now, it's time for a change.
I love that our children get to see as we ultimately become that phoenix rising from the ashes. They get to see what that process looks like. Yes, they don't have to go through exactly what we went through, but they see the steps. And my daughter, she's
Mhm.
12 right now, so she literally gets to watch the process, the struggles that I've had, and now get to see, hey, there's when you put the work in, when you
Right.
stay dedicated to whatever that passion and goal is, you will see your dreams come to fruition. So I absolutely love that. Now, what advice would you give to another mompreneur, another woman coming through, going through, been through domestic violence, kind of still stuck and stagnant? What advice would you give?
Well, first with the preneurs, especially if you're a mom, just know I know it's gonna be hard, cause especially, trying to find the finance and figuring out where it's gonna come from. Just cause the money ain't there don't mean it can't happen. It's about finding where you can make a little scribe here and make a little scribe there, because as you keep going the money will come, but you got to have faith through the journey and don't let it deter you, like, oh, well, I won't be able to promote it this way. There are platforms out there that you can do it for free. You just got to know where to look. You got to search, and it's about networking, because you can network with people and end up in a whole nother door, projects that you could never imagine. Sometimes just opening your mouth and speaking your truth get you in doors that you never imagined you could be in.
Jeez, that's
To
good.
my domestic violence, you know, people that is going through or went through, know that in time, healing, forgiveness will come. Their anger will survive. The disappointment, it will definitely go away, but it starts with us. We have to forgive ourselves and take accountability for the things that might have happened. Standing in your truth and taking off that mask and said, yeah, I went through this, and yes, it happened, but I'm better than who I was the day before that it did happen. I can forgive those who didn't tell me I'm sorry, but forgive for you, not for them, and find your peace, find your happiness, and just go through the healing process. I know it's going to be hard, but just know, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, and 1 hour at a time, it will get better. And you are the force to be reckoned with. And the power is within you, and the power is in your voice.
Now, what does accountability look like? I know that is sometimes one of the things that becomes difficult, especially in the healing process, like looking at ourselves and kind of digging to the root cause. What does that accountability, and from your perspective, like what does that look like?
Well, for me, it was me accountability, knowing that, all right, I settled for that. Or, I allowed that to happen because I stayed in that relationship or I stayed around that situation that happened. So to know, for me, it was me accepting that I allowed it, and now I need to put boundaries up, and I need to learn the word no, and I don't have to deal with those things, and learning to love myself and not look for love in all the wrong places.
That's good, especially the looking for love in all the wrong places and really acknowledging what actions we took. And I think that's a great deal of the healing journey, being able to really look at our actions and see how we got to where we ended up.
Right.
And without judgment as much as possible, because of
Right.
course, if we're hard on ourselves and we talk ugly to ourselves,
Right.
the healing process becomes that much more difficult. You already went through it, and then to the outside world is already going to give you enough. So being able
Absolutely.
to love on yourself through your healing journey is really, really important and impactful. So thank you for
Ab-
sharing.
Absolutely. Like with that process, I journaled a lot. That's where the
That's-
first book came in at.
ah,
My journals were poetry. Like I wrote in poetry like how I felt, like yes, I went through this, but I'm a warrior of strength because that's the first title in my first book. It's called Warrior Strength. And in it I talked about how I was physically, mentally, and verbally abused. But I'm a warrior through it because I still showed up. It was hard, but I showed up anyway.
and without it, we
So,
don't end up here. So it's like,
right,
as much as you can love on yourself and take out the positives, what are the lessons you can learn? What are the things that you can apply so you can make a better decision next time? Yeah, the emotions may still run high, but if you
hmm,
now you're not starting from lack of experience, you're starting from
right,
experience. So
right,
going, say, back into the dating world or going back into that church or going back into that working environment,
hmm,
if there's toxicity going on, all right, I
right,
know when to step away, walk away, even if it might be a temporary loss for a long term gain. It's worth it in the end. So,
absolutely.
what advice or what information would you want the listeners to know about your brand? Any additional information you want to add?
Well, definitely about the brand. Know that you can always look for Sheena Master Motivation to show up, to educate you, inspire you, and motivate you. We are one that goes through the masses, and we are here to inspire you to take it off. My first book, I told you you had a mask on. The second one, I want you to take the pieces off. And the last one, I want you to show up as unapologetically, authentically who you are, comfortable in your own skin. We
Wow.
show up and we show out. Know that you have a purpose and that you can always thrive to be the best full potential of who you are. With Sheena Master Motivation, we love to help people feel good. We like to help you smile and just be happy with one with yourself. So with the Sheena Master Motivation, we help you show up confidently, authentically, and present. Because sometimes we have to be happy for the here and now, you know? So you can always, I have a website. So if you're ever looking for the things as far as the books and the magazines, you can always go on my website at Sheena Master Motivation at www.sheenamastermotivation.com. You can always find me on Facebook as Shana Gourdine. You can find me on Instagram at the Lady Behind the Mask 22. You can also always find the magazine. It's on MadCloud. I probably have to contact me to get the link, but it is a book that is delivered digitally and printed.
Okay. Super dope. Well, Miss Sheena Goodine, I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story. It's been a pleasure.